Well, we all know Jamie Oliver, the poster boy for nanny statusism, and the classic control freaks who try to tell you how to live your life, and they themselves are hypocrites because he's been campaigning against sugar. Yet he and his restaurants and his books love sugar. He went outside Downing Street to start a protest. There with a massive Eton mess, and it was supposed to be a symbolic thing because Boris went to Eton and he's a mess. And I get it, Jamie. It's funny, a little bit, not too much because you overplayed your hand. But let's have a look at because he was interviewed outside Downing Street about his agenda, and there were a couple of issues with this. Watch this.
So isn't it the parents and carers' responsibility to ensure that their child isn't obese, not the government?
Of course, look, parents, carers, of course we're there to look after and love our children. But how much do parents, including myself, see their children?
But put aside the fact that he just said he doesn't actually see his children much because he's very busy, of course. Even though there are a lot of parents who are careerists and they still have time to see their children. The problem with this concept is that he says, because you're not able to see your children 24 hours, then we need to get the government to control and parent your children. If you want to go with healthy eating, and it's a good concept, everybody should eat healthily, right? Parents shouldn't really need to be with their kids every single second to teach them how to be healthy. You can still teach your children over time as they grow up about the concept of healthy eating. That's fine. But being a helicopter parent, coming from a parent who doesn't actually see his children much, is a bit weird. Also, the hypocrisy of this guy who is coming to tell us, that we need to use the state and government to teach adults what to do. Not children. Put aside his campaigns for school meals and the changes that he made. That's one thing. But telling everybody else how to live their lives and how the government should basically tell restaurants about the size of pizzas or the number of toppings you could have on pizzas. He doesn't understand the economy aspects of it, but also, generally speaking, the moral aspect. Because he actually admits he ain't that clever.
Like, you can't fluff those numbers. And it equals, if you talk, I ain't that clever. If you talk, I ain't that clever, right? Honestly, if you go and talk to an economist and say, is that good for UK PLC? No. Is it good for productivity and innovation? No. Is it good morally? No. So,
okay, so this argument also makes no sense because until now, these guys have been going around, they're socialists like Jamie Oliver, saying that the masses and the politicians, the conservative side, the people who don't care about compassion, they only care about the UK PLC and GDP and how much money it makes for the country. Okay, you just said that it's not good, clearly, according to you. If he really cared about the impact of sugar on a moral level, then why is it the same Eton mess that he's holding in his hand, the recipe on his own website, it involves 300 grams of sugar and also on top of it, extra sugar for sprinkling. If that really were the case, that he wants to be a preacher, but also use the government and the state to mandate your life, then maybe he could start from home. Maybe he could start from his own behavior and his own businesses and just generally speaking lifestyle. And again, as a parent, that he wants the government to parent his own children because he's too busy. He doesn't really see them. And we have to listen to this guy who, again, in my opinion, is just an attention seeker. The fact that he goes outside Downing Street and does things like this.
Boris, keep your promise! Boris, keep your promise! Boris, keep your promise! Boris, keep your promise! Boris, keep your promise!
They do love their puns and jokes. There was that sign, did you see, it said that we've had enough instead of we've had enough, obviously referring to the advertising policy, because Boris Johnson decided to go against nanny state issues recently, especially when it comes to the food adverts, junk food and everything else like that. And they're losing their mind because they can't be dictators, so they want to create dictatorships. They want to use the state to be your parent, and it's absolutely disgusting the way it's going because it's not even funny, it's not even actually achievable, it's not workable. You can't really try to be a helicopter parent for the rest of the population. It doesn't really work that way. Perfect example is a very radical example in the 1920s and 30s in New York. What happened when you banned alcohol? You can't really do that. So you know the best thing to do is education and good parenting. And maybe we should listen to Jamie Oliver as a very, very good modeling for parents. In case you don't know, this is a list of his kids and names that he's picked for his children. And some of them are actually not really healthy. One of them is called Poppy Honey Rosie. Honey, it's too much sugar. That's not good. Petal Blossom Rainbow. Brilliant. Daisy Boo Pamela. Okay. River Rocket Blue. I have no idea what happened there. And Buddy Bear Morris. That's my favorite. But this, again, we have to, you guys as parents, I mean, I'm not a parent myself, but you guys as parents should really learn from the beacon of hope and parenthood that is Jamie Oliver, who's picked the best names for his kids, who are definitely not going to be getting into trouble at school because of those names, and the fact that he doesn't even have time to see them, so he wants to get Boris Johnson to be the parent of his children. That's the weird hypocrisy and also idiocy. He says that Boris and the Conservatives are evil. He also wants Boris to be the parent of his children. Jamie Oliver, change your recipe, and actually if you want to be a preacher, start from home. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Tousi and we are the media.